Today I'm here with James from Space Station Gaming, breaking down, giving you pro tips on Yeti Bobat. What is up, my friends? My name is Ek, and we're back on the channel with another pro tip video coming out of Space Station Gaming. Today, hanging out with James, breaking down a strategy that I am personally loving, that I have seen so much happening in the ESL Mobile Open. This strategy has come out of nowhere, and it is crushing bases. After this video today, you're going to understand how to do it because James is the man, and he's going to break it down. How you doing today, James? Thanks for coming on.
Hey Echo, thanks for having me. It's happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you, especially because not only is the audience gonna benefit from this, but I am as well. I want to pull in more triples, I want to get more value out of my bats, and I want to really learn how to do this strategy. So what we're gonna do, guys, is break down the army composition, the bases that are ideal to hit, and then he's gonna walk us through his attacks that he's recently done in war so that we can fully understand this strategy. Before we get into it though, guys, make sure you sub the channel and ring the bell for daily Clash of Clans videos. So James, we're looking at the base and your army composition. Your composition looks quite a bit different than mine. Can you walk us through why this army, why these troops, and if it changes much from base to base?
Yeah, for sure. So most of it is pretty standard. You always go in with 5 healers, around 6 Yetis, 5 or 6 bowlers, 2 Ragers, and 5 bats. And then the rest is flexible base to base. Based off of funnel troops, cleaned up troops, and then a few other minor details. On this base, I bring a jump rather than wall breakers. I like bring wall breakers normally. It didn't work great for where my entrance was. And I also brought an ice golem because I was entering on a lot of damage. So it helped save some Yeti health. And then the blimp has 2 Yetis and 3 super goblins. Which is huge for taking down the town hall, which gives you a lot of flexibility in where you enter on the base.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling us that as well. Sometimes I forget, and that is such a vital part of the attack. Those super goblins, or actually sneaky goblins, I think they're called, they're amazing. Do you ever have a time where you don't have that super troop donated to you, or is that always in your blimp?
I'm sure might be some cases. I don't remember the last time I didn't have that same blimp.
Gotcha. So basically, you're going in with that blimp. So you talked about the comp a little bit. Let's talk about this base. What type of bases are typically vulnerable to triples with Yeti Bobat?
Yeah, so the first thing that I look for is kind of an entrance for scatter shot, especially, because those absolutely kill your bats.
Yeah.
So on this one, you can see the scatter shot up at 12 o'clock. It's fairly accessible. And so I actually ended up dropping the jump directly on top of it, but that gives me a chance to get into the base, get the eagle, get the clan castle troops, as well as the queen, the other scatter shot, and you'll notice that there's a ton of wizard towers near there as well. So I'm able to get all the buildings that are dangerous to bat spells on the space. Also, you notice all the the expos are on ground, which means they aren't a concern for bats. Air expos are actually really problematic for bats because they have such a high fire rate.
So this base was basically screaming some kind of a bat attack. Now that you say, now that I'm looking at it, so much of that splash damage that kills your bats are where you're going to be entering the base, so you basically clear it all out. Plus the Inferno Towers are on single. Why don't we hop in right now, and you could kind of walk us through what you were thinking while the attack was going on.
Sure.
All right, James, walk us through the attack. Let us know what you were thinking, what was on your mind, and what was your plan.
Yeah, so first I'm dropping 1 loon on this cannon down at 6 o'clock, which is for free. I was worried about potential Teslas down here. The most important part on this entry was to make sure I got the town hall, because obviously I was wanting to enter opposite the town hall. But I noticed there was nothing there, so I could send in 2 more loons to tank for the blimp. And it gets to the town hall, no problem.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I also get the CC lure, so everything that I'm worried about is dealt with, and I even got lucky enough that there was a wizard tower that came down.
Beautiful. Good start.
On the top side, you'll notice the 2 elixir collectors are down. Those were used for sneaky goblins, so for 2 sneaky goblins, I got my entire funnel set, which is incredibly cheap. From there, It's the entire kill squad is slowly working its way through the heroes. Get a first rage down, and get my jump down early, so I'm not worrying about it later. Um, Eternal Tome as I'm getting into all the damage and as the hound is popping. And a second rage as we're getting through into this big damage to kill all the most important buildings.
Yeah, that's beautiful right there. The jump and the rage just perfectly placed so that really every single troop takes advantage of it.
So, and you'll notice that all my troops ended up falling to one side, which was fine. I kind of expected with the jump that something would. But then they led to this perfect bat pathing that now they can wrap around the entire base without any concern, while the rest of my kill squad wraps back around to deal with the remaining splash. And then I've got the Royal Champ to help support the bats a little bit and speed them up.
Yeah, you really didn't have to deal with any wizard towers at all. Everything was being tanked by whatever the kill squad or whatnot. It was really beautiful bat pathing.
Yeah, so this one was really nice. Obviously, I got the lucky wizard tower kill at the very beginning, down at 6 o'clock, which helped save some freezes, which meant that I had the freeze to spare, as you see coming home, as the bats are flying around doing their cleanup thing.
Yeah, this worked out beautifully. Really a nice job. What I sometimes run into on my attacks are the bats are the only things left over in the end, and they get stuck on storages and they can never take down the rest of the base. So it seems like you have a good number of cleanup troops in here just in case your entire kill squad dies.
Yeah, so I try to make sure I've got at least 2 or 3 wizards. Regular goblins work for cleanup as well. And if you've got an extra loon, that's actually a really good cleanup as well on storages once all the defenses are down.
Yeah, great point. And those sneaky goblins, it seems like a super troop that you like using. What about those super wall breakers? Are they ever in your comp?
Almost every single time, actually. Because of the way this one entered, I used the jump instead. There was no way I was getting a super wall breaker into that scatter shot, obviously. Even up to 3 super wall breakers on an entry for my Yetis in some cases.
Well, the value is insane, but I know you have another attack for us. It's in another clan from another war, so we're going to head on over there, get the attack, and break that one down for you guys as well. All right, James, we're over here in Space Station looking at this different base, very different from the last one that you attacked. The army composition is just about the same, but talk to me about this base. This is the type of base that many people don't like going against because of that centralized town hall. What was your plan here?
Yeah, so on this one, I was able to see a really easy, quick warden walk that could get me a quick funnel. And again, I'm able to enter into another scatter shot. It leads into, again, the Queen, Eagle, and I'm able to use my blimp for the town hall once again. This time it'll be a little bit different, as you'll see as we get into the attack. And this time again, it's a wall break instead of the jump to save the spell space, which means I've got an extra freeze and poison for the clan castle.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I did notice in that last one you didn't have the poison, and that could get hairy, I would guess, depending on what comes out. But I do see the value in that super wall breaker right now, saving yourself an entire spell slot, which can bring you that extra poison and freeze. But why don't we get into the attack? And again, you can break it down for us. I'm noticing in this one, the wizard towers are more spread out. The scatter shots are on opposite sides of the base, so I really can't wait to see what your plan was here. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so on this one, I'm starting with a warden walk. The goal basically is to get the first layer of defenses there, which forces my Yetis, once they go in, to path towards the Eagle. And then you've got a baby dragon up on the top side, helping set the funnel. And you'll see the Barbarian King come in shortly to deal with the Royal Champion and finish establishing that funnel.
Yeah, it's nice. Take her out really quickly with that king.
Yeah.
Nice and smart.
So again, you see him come in, you see the wall break, and now the funnel is really well established, and I'm able to get the Yetis and bowlers in.
Right into that scatter, which is perfect, yeah.
They come in quickly into there, and then you'll see the blimp coming in a moment as the Yetis are pushing in towards the Eagle. Again, some loons in front, just in case. And I use my Warden Tome to make sure that the blimp's able to get into the core of the base.
Yeah, that's something I was going to mention. I was going to wonder if you were going to tome that blimp.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I drop the rage so it catches both the Town Hall Yetis and the ones on the kill squad. Just to make sure that kill goes in smoothly. And the poison is really useful here because it ends up being a double witch.
Nice. Perfect. You need the poison for that for sure.
So, especially because the main kill squad's so far away. And so now in come the kill squad's wrapping around. I use an Ice Golem and the Royal Champ to deal with the back end scatter. Well, my bats come in at 6 o'clock with some freezes. Making sure to catch the Expo with the Wizard Tower. As I mentioned before, the air bows are really nasty on this. And everything ends up meeting back here right at the end.
No, that worked out beautifully. I like that you used that double freeze in the Wizard Tower too. You were a hair away from losing all your bats, but you were able to get that double freeze down.
Yeah, so this is where having 3 freezes is really useful. I saw that I had 2 Wizard Towers to deal with. So typically that first one ends up needing a double freeze, which then meant that I had to deal with the scatter some other way, which is where the Royal Champion came in super helpful. And again, having a bunch of cleanup in behind the bats to deal with all the trash buildings.
I love it. What I'm going to do as soon as we're done with this video is I'm going to go edit my train up army because I have it, as one of my customs. We definitely need more cleanup and I need one more healer. I'm only using 4 in my strategy. That must be the key. That must be why I'm not 3-starring all the time. That's got to be it. But that was an amazing attack, amazing strategy. And I love how we got to see 2 different types of bases. Are there any other things that we maybe didn't touch on during the attacks that you'd like to mention now?
I think we highlighted most of it. So I think the biggest stuff is determining on your entry if you can get in with a wall break. That's obviously most useful. And if you need to drop bring a jump to get deeper into the base or something, you can do that. The best way is typically if you can get away with 2 freezes and no poison, as bringing less bats just really minimizes their effectiveness.
Right.
And only 1 rage for the kill squad or 1 rage for the blimp ruins your flexibility, especially if you're going in on legends hits or something like that. Yeah. You want the flexibility that comes with having 2 rages.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot like myself, I go in with a similar armor to this in legends hits and you get 30 seconds. Bases are all different. You have to identify it and jump in. So having an army that's a little bit more diverse and will work better in less specific situations, it could work out really well. And again, that toming of the blimp, we didn't see it in your first attack because you came in from the back end, but on this one, this is something that I would assume you do more often than not. Tome that blimp as it's going in with your kill squad.
Yeah, so the vast majority of my attacks, I'll use the tome on the blimp, and with the kill squad, even sometimes sending opposite the town hall. In this case, there was very little damage. There wasn't a sweeper covering on the first hit. And so I was able to send the blimp safely from there. If the Tesla farm had been down there and I hadn't been able to blimp it, then I might have had to send my kill squad in from the town hall side. And obviously it would have been a lot less likely to triple. But again, it's a 1-hit war, so I would have needed to make sure that I got the 2-star.
Completely understand. Well, James, I think you broke this down really well because for me, I got an even better understanding and I feel like I'm looking at bases from a different perspective after hearing you give your lesson on how to do this with the most effectiveness. So thank you so much for coming down to the channel today. We're kind of looking at the attack again as we log on out of here, but in a moment, I'm going to ask you to share anything that you want. I know that you've been competing in the ESL Mobile Open and in other things representing Space Station Gaming. So I'm going to be asking you to fill in our audience on all of those details. But either way, you guys did a really nice job in the Mobile Open. It was great to be able to be there, at least virtually, with you guys. But thanks so much for coming down today, man. This was a ton of fun.
Thanks again for having me, Echo. It's been a blast to be on your channel and sharing some tips on Yeti Bobat.
Well, I know you do other strategies too, so maybe we can have you back again sometime soon, breaking down another strategy. But guys, make sure you sound off down below with the attack strategies that you're utilizing at Town Hall 13 or any Town Hall level right now. And if you enjoy this series, if you like seeing these pro tips, give a thumbs up on the video. It'll let me know that you want more. Representing Space Station Gaming, we're out of here for today. Make sure you check out this video before you go. And remember guys, take care and be good.